ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ सच्चिदानन्दरूपाय विश्वोत्पत्त्यादिहेतवे तापत्रयविनाशाय श्रीकृष्णाय वयं नमः। समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्। Hari Om, salutations to all. So we are seeing the fifth canto, chapter 17. The first part we saw the descent of Mother Ganga and how she flows from the causal ocean to Dhruvaloka, to the Saptarishi Mandal, to the heaven, to the moon, then to which is the also considered as the heaven, then to Sumeru mountain, Brahmapuri, and from there 4 parts. So Sita, Alaknanda, then Chakshu, and one more is Bhadra. So these are 4 divisions, flows in 4 paths, in 4 parts, east, west, north, south, and then merges into the ocean. Then the 9, and it was said that Vishnu Padi, Bhagavat Padi, because she flows from the feet of Bhagwan Vishnu and hence has the ability to remove the sins of all. So in Bhakti literature, remembering Bhagwan is the best method to remove all sins. In that specifically Vishnu Bhagwan. So even when we do the puja, we say Om Keshavaya Swaha, Narayana Swaha, Madhavaya Swaha. That is mantra achamanam. Purify the mind. Again we purify ourselves saying Yasmaret Pundarikaksham Sabahyabhyantara Shuchihi. Pundarikaksha is again Vishnu Bhagwan. So in the Vaishnava tradition this will be followed. In the Shaiva Siddhanta it will be Om Haraya Namaha, Mridaya Namaha, Shankaraya Namaha. With that the person is purified. If suppose one is not able to take bath before Bhagwan's worship, then one takes the jal, does the prokshan with the same names, either Keshavaya Swaha, Narayana Swaha, Madhavaya Swaha, or Haraya Namaha, Mridaya Namaha, Shankaraya Namaha. Prokshan. So the name of Bhagwan, any association with Bhagwan is purifying. And Gangaji flows from the very feet of Bhagwan Vishnu, and so it is said the pollen, red pollen from the feet of Bhagwan Vishnu flows through Gangaji, and hence those who take a dip in the Ganga, they get purified. Now, after that, it was said that they will also get the results of Ashwamedha Yajna, Rajasuya Yajna, etc. Those who take a dip in Gangaji. Then the 9 varshas of Jambu Dvipa, they were described, and in that each varsha, who are the key inhabitants and who is the presiding deity of the varsha, that was also explained. Now, we saw Ilavrata Varsha, Lord Shiva is the key inhabitant, presiding deity Sankarshana. Bhadrashva Varsha, Bhadrashrava is the key inhabitant, Hayagriva or Hayashirsha is the presiding deity. Like that, 9 Varshas, the key inhabitants and the presiding deity is given. Now see what is the focus here. The focus here is Bhagwan can be worshipped anywhere by anyone at any time. That is the only way for upliftment. So one doesn't have to wait for a conducive time, conducive place, conducive environment. You will see different deities are worshipped. And interesting is those who are worshipping are either the forms of God who are worshipping the presiding deities or great bhaktas. So you see Shivji is worshipping in Ilavrata Varsha. Bhadrashrava is worshipping Bhadrashrava Varsha. Prahladji is worshipping in Hari Varsha. Lakshmi Devi is worshipping in Ketumala Varsha. Vaivasvata Manu is worshipping in Ramyaka Varsha. Aryama is worshipping in Hiranmaya Varsha. Mother Earth is worshipping in Kuru Varsha. Hanumanji is worshipping in Kimpurusha Varsha. And Narad Muni is worshipping in Bharat Varsha. So those who are worshipping these devotees also are either the form of Bhagwan or great bhaktas. And of course, Bhagwan is being worshipped in so many forms as Sankarshana, Hayagriva, Narasimha, Kamadeva, Matsya, Kurma, Varaha, Rama, and Nar Narayan. So this is one objective. We should not get lost in thinking, are these 9 varshas, where are they today? We may attempt to understand, and some people put their efforts to figure out, acha, this varsha. But we are talking about millions of years back, so the whole geography of the world would have been very different. Continents would have been together, then the separation has happened, and so many things have changed over a period of time. Even Bharat as a continent split from Africa, came and banged with the Asian plates, and that's how the Himalayas are formed, and all that. Over millions of years, so many things change. So our focus is not on figuring out the actual places. Where are these today? Bharat Varsh we are right now in. Bharatakhanda, Jambu Dvipa. Bas. Where we are, we should learn to worship Bhagwan. That's the main point. Second aspect is by giving various forms of Bhagwan and how to worship them. If anybody is worshipping those forms, then the mantras and the shlokas and the stutis are here in Bhagavatam, like Narasimha Bhagwan. So suppose you go to a Narasimha temple. So when we go to, let us say, Jyotirmath, before we reach Badrinath, Jyotirmath will come on the way. There's a beautiful Narasimha Bhagwan mandir there. So if we go to Narasimha Bhagwan's mandir, then what is the stuti to be chanted? Which is the mantra with which we can worship? Or what is the japa that can be done? So that is there in this. One can use this and do the sadhana. And so now you will see here, each of these varshas, the inhabitants are praising the Lord in that specific form. So now this 17th chapter speaks about the stuti that Lord Shiva sings for Sankarshana, Bhagwan Sankarshana, who is the form of Sheshanag. Vishnu Bhagwan took 4 forms: Aniruddha, Pradyumna, Sankarshana, and Vasudeva. 4. Earlier cantos we have also seen they are also 4 deities in charge of Man, Buddhi, Chitta, Ahankar. Here it is Sankarshana as the very support of the entire creation, you will see. Meaning here it is Bhagwan Sankarshana worshipped as the supreme. Each of these forms is worshipped as the supreme. Kurma, Matsya, Varaha, not as one specific avatar only, but as the very supreme creator, as sustainer, destroyer of the whole universe. So now in this Ilavrata Varsha, what happens? It is said the only male person is Lord Shiva. Mother Durga does not like any person, any man to enter into this Ilavrata Varsha. And if a man enters there, he will become a woman. About this, it will come later in the 9th canto, that time we will see. But This curse is effective in the place between Kailasa and Karavira mountains in Ilavrata Varsha, in the southern direction of Sumeru. Now, Lord Shiva is the only male there. All of them are the attendants of Mother Durga there. 10 billion attendants of Mother Durga. And Lord Shiva, what is he doing there? He is worshipping his source, that is Sankarshana Bhagwan. Symbolically, we may think about it as Shiva is the Purusha Tattva, the principle of consciousness, rest is all Prakriti. That is one aspect to understand. But here, specifically from Bhakti standpoint, it is Shivji who is worshipping the Supreme as the form of Sankarshana. So, he will explain this when we go further, that how from the Supreme Lord comes Brahmaji, from Brahmaji comes Lord Shiva, from Shiva all the Devatas, 5 elements, senses, the sequence of creation. Remember, this is Bhagavatam. In this, Vishnu Bhagwan is supreme. So, Sankarshana Bhagwan is that appearance of Vishnu Bhagwan only, who is the Supreme Lord. That supreme cause, Shivji is meditating in this Ilavrata Varsha. And so we find here in this 17th chapter, in this 16th verse here, verse matlab is a prose order here, this 16th paragraph. And so he worships Lord Shiva, Lord Shiva worships Sankarshana. That is now given from 17th shloka onwards. So the first line of the 17th shloka, now this is shloka, till now it was prose. Now this first line of this 17th shloka is the mantra, the full thing is a mantra. So what does he say? What is the name? What is the mantra? Om Namo Bhagavate Mahapurushaya Sarvaguna Sankhyānaya Anantaya Avyaktaya Nama Iti. Namaha, actually it is. With that Namaha it will end. Iti means thus. So this is the mantra. Om Namo Bhagavate Mahapurushaya Sarvaguna Sankhyānaya Anantaya Avyaktaya Namaha. So if somebody worships Lord Ananta or Sheshanag as the Supreme, then this is the mantra to be chanted. What does this mantra mean? That my salutations to Mahapurushaya, the Supreme Purusha, meaning the pure consciousness. Who is that Supreme Purusha? Sarvaguna Sankhyanaya, the abode of all the divine virtues and qualities. Anantaya, who is infinite, and Avyaktaya, who is also the unmanifest. The creation comes through stages, unmanifest and then the manifest. And both these are from the Supreme. And so he says Sarvaguna Sankhyanaya, Anantaya, infinite, and Avyaktaya. Anantaya is infinite, Avyaktaya is unmanifest. So that Supreme Lord who is the cause of the creation, who is consciousness, who is also infinite, who is unmanifest, and who alone appears as this whole creation, who is the abode of all the divine transcendental qualities, my salutations to that Supreme Lord. So that is first one. Then Bhaje Bhajanyarana Pada Pankajam Bhagasya Krishnasya Paramparayanam Bhakteshwalam Bhavita Bhuta Bhavanam Bhavapaham Tva Bhavabhavam Ishwaram. So he says that I worship whom? The worshipful Lord. We should worship those who are worshipful, not anybody who we want some favors from. Then we do some, praise and flattery and all that. Truly worshipful is the Lord who is infinite, who is unconditional, who loves us as we are, who does not want anything out of us, who is our own Atma. So, Bhaje Bhajanyarana Pada Pankajam. So the worshipful Lord, whose feet protect those devotees who worship the Lord from all the dangers, who is the highest abode, Bhagasya Krishnasya Paramparayanam. Bhagasya Krishnasya. Bhaga means, so why we use the word Bhagwan? See, God and Bhagwan are two different things. As far as Sanatan Dharma, we understand Bhagwan in a very different way. English word God, people connect God to so many concepts of God are created, limited to one particular form or specific qualities. Some people say formless. Some people think of God as always unmanifest. So in Sanatan Dharma, the distinction is very clear. Brahman, Ishvara, Bhagavan, Devata, Ishtadevata, clear distinction is there, no confusion. And so as much we can use our vocabulary, that much is better. So we are very clear that what are we referring to? Brahman is infinite consciousness where there is no duality. Name, form, attributes are not there. Desha Kala Vastu Aparichinna. Unlimited by time, space, causation. In which there is no Srishti, there is no Ishvara, there is no Jiva, there is no Jagat, nothing, no duality. That is Brahman. That Brahman using power of Maya becomes Ishvara, the creator. Also we call that creator as Bhagavan. Now that creator, why is he called Bhagavan? Because the creator is a abode of 6 bhagas, 6 opulences in their full measure. Aishwaryasya samagrasya vidyasya yashasha shriyah vairagyasyath mokshascha shannam bhaga iti ingana. So Aishwarya, glory, yasha, fame, vidya, knowledge, Aishwaryasya samagrasya vidyasya yashasha shriyah, wealth, vairagya, dispassion, and moksha, the state of freedom. One who has all the 6 in infinite measure, in full measure, is Bhagavan. Like we say Dhanavan, one who has Dhana is Dhanavan. Vidyavan, one who has knowledge. Same way, Bhagavan, one who has Bhaga. These 6, so that's why he says here that Bhagasya Krishnasya Paramparayanam, who is the abode of these 6 bhagas, the highest shelter of all the 6 bhagas is the Supreme. Then, who manifests different forms for the devotees and their satisfaction, and who stops the cycle of birth and death, who is the origin of the entire material creation. Bhavapaham tva bhava bhavam ishwaram. So Lord Shiva is worshipping Vishnu Bhagwan in the form of Ananta in this way. Then, although the Lord glances over the material world, he is not affected by it even to the slightest degree. That is the glory of Bhagwan. But we get affected, we have attachments, we get angry and all that. So he says, Ishe yatha no jita manyu ramhasam. But we cannot control the force of our anger. Therefore, who desires to control the senses, they must worship the Lord. Here it's in the form of a rhetorical saying that therefore who desiring to conquer the senses will not worship the Lord. Meaning Bhagwan, who has controlled all the senses, who is not affected by anything in the world. A devotee who has no control over the senses, gets angry, upset, etc. One who wants the control, why will that person not worship Bhagwan? Meaning that's the solution. Anger comes to us, attachment is there, irritation, frustration, so many things are there in our mindset, in our buddhi. And when that anger comes, nobody knows. In Bhagavatam only so many prasang came. Dhruva also became so angry. After he had darshan of Bhagwan and everything, he came, he had anger and he waged a war based on that anger. Rachetas, when they did tapasya, you saw in that fourth canto. Shivji gave them darshan, taught them the Rudra Gita. They went to Narayan Sarovar, did the tapasya, pleased Bhagwan Vishnu. But when they came back, they saw that their father Prachin Barhi, out of Vairagya, he has left the kingdom, and the trees have grown so much because nobody is to control, manage all that, and these trees have grown and there's uncontrolled growth, and they get very angry and they start chopping all the trees. So when that anger comes, which janmas, how much anger is stored, nobody knows. Impulsively, one moment one is peaceful, next moment one bursts out straight. And everybody wonders, what happened to this person? You were so peaceful for now. Suddenly what happened? So that anger impulsively it rises. Over a long period of sadhana, Bhagwan's grace and surrender, that is the only solution. Even Dhruva and Prachetas and all of them, when they came back, they got angry. That means they still have to do so much more sadhana. And the idea is not that anger will never come to a person of realization. Anger may come, but this uncontrolled anger, impulsive anger, that means that sadhana mind has still to get purified. And so he says, who desiring to conquer the senses will not worship the Lord. One of the reasons why we get angry is because we don't have control on the senses. Then he says that for those whose minds are impure, the form of Bhagwan, Sankarshana, the eyes of the Lord appear intoxicated, angry and fearful. The Naga Patnis, meaning Sankarshana Bhagwan is in the Naga form, and the Naga Patnis are the wives. They are continuously adoring the Supreme Lord, touching the lotus feet, and could not proceed in their worship out of shyness, but the Lord remains undisturbed. Those who are the devotees, for them the Lord appears how? That's the cause of the creation, sustenance and destruction. Though by itself, Bhagwan has nothing to do with any of the three. So Bhagwan is infinite consciousness. There is no Srishti in the Lord. If you and I see the Srishti, then there is Ishvara also, and that Ishvara is infinite consciousness only using the power of Maya. But by itself, Ishvara, there is no Upadhi of Ishvara, there is no Maya, there is no Srishti, there is no Jiva. There is only consciousness. Beyond the three gunas, beyond the sustenance, creation, sustenance and destruction. That's why I said each of these presiding deities are worshipped by the particular inhabitants of that particular varsha as the infinite consciousness. Which means that is the right vision to have. No matter which form we worship, that form is infinite consciousness, that we should know. We should not think that Vishnu's form is the supreme and all other forms are ordinary. Shivji is worshipping Vishnu Bhagwan in this Bhagavatam. You open Shiv Puran, then Vishnu Bhagwan is worshipping Shiva as infinite consciousness. So one should not get confused. Just like Shivji, Vishnu Bhagwan has this so many different forms, Shivji also has different forms. Lingodbhava Murti, and then this Dakshina Murti, then that Bhikshatana Rupa, then Rudra Rupa, in Rudra 11 Rupas, Nataraja, so many avatars Shivji also has. But each of them must be understood only as infinite consciousness, because our purpose is that, to realize our oneness. And so here he says that because the Lord is the cause of the creation, sustenance and destruction, and yet is beyond this, he is called Ananta, he is called infinite. And uh, as Shesha, he holds many universes. Today, science is talking about multiple universes, parallel universes. Bhagavatam and Hindu scriptures have been saying that for a long time. It's not only poetry, there's a fact also. And see the description given here. What he says here, that as Shesha, he holds all the universes on his hoods, but each universe appears no heavier than a mustard seed on him. Mustard seed, so small. Each universe is like that, meaning effortlessly multiple universes are appearing from the divine. The divine is yet unaffected by it. When we say Ananta Koti Brahmanda Nayaka, it means that. So, then he goes on to say in 22nd and 23rd, Yasyadya asid guna vigraho mahan vijnana dhishnyo bhagavana jatkila yat sambhavoham trivrita swatejasa vaikarikam tamasa maindriyam sruje ete vayam yasya vashe mahatmanah sthita shakunta iva sutrayantritaha महानहं वैकृततामसेन्द्रियाः सृजाम सर्वे यदनुग्रहादिदम्. So he says, he gives the sequence, what I told earlier. The supreme infinite consciousness is Narayana Bhagwan here, Mahavishnu, whatever you call him. Then Brahmaji creates Shivji creates the Devatas create this 5 elements, then the senses, this whole Srishti comes out. So he says, I worship that Supreme Lord, under whose control we all are situated. How? Like the birds bound by a rope. See that Shakunta iva sutra yantritaha. Now, birds bound by the rope means what? There's a beautiful example. So the bird can fly, but the bird can fly only within that radius of the rope. Meaning Bhagwan has given freedom, but that freedom is limited. It is controlled by the Supreme Lord. And that's why he says, under whose control we all are situated like the birds bound by a rope. Only by his grace can we create the whole world. Srijama sarve yadanugrahadidam. So even all of them who get their capability, Brahmaji gets the capability. We saw earlier how Chatushloki Bhagavat was given by Narayana Bhagwan to Brahmaji. Then Brahmaji is able to create. Then he creates Lord Shiva. Then he creates the Devatas, like that. So that each one has their specific role. They are able to do certain things, but by whose grace? By the grace of the Supreme. Same way, if see Bhagwan, if we understand this, then what do we also understand? All of us have certain freedom, but that freedom is in a certain limitation, with a certain limitation. And that also is by grace of Bhagwan. Whatever we are able to do, act, achieve, make the right choices, all by grace of Bhagwan. So one should never forget that. Then, bewildered by the Maya of Bhagwan, one can't understand, one can't comprehend, and one is bound by this knot of karma. One cannot come out of this knot of karma, meaning this cycle of birth and death, without the grace of Bhagwan. Nistarana Yoga or Bhakti Yoga. With that, only one can come out of this, and that requires grace of Bhagwan. So he says, I offer my respects to that Supreme Lord, who is the cause of the creation and annihilation. Vilaya Namaha Tasmai Namaste Vilayodayatmane. Vilaya Udaya Atmane. Udaya is creation, Vilaya is destruction or going into unmanifest state. So I offer my salutations to that Supreme Lord, who is a creator, who is a destroyer, meaning who is a sustainer also. Only by the grace of that Supreme Lord can this Maya and these knots of karma be eliminated and one comes to realize the Supreme. Now, this Vilaya Atmane also has a different meaning, that the one who is the devotee, for them Bhagwan destroys his Maya and makes that Jiva liberated. And one who is yet extroverted, yet not having that desire for liberation, has not yet surrendered, Bhagwan creates his Maya, creates more karma bandhan. Let the Jiva go through it and get fed up of it. See, the idea is not that to the devotee Bhagwan is partial and to others he is making them suffer. The idea is compassion is there for both. Like a mother, if the child is happily playing with the toys, the mother encourages the child to play. But if the child says, no, enough, I played, now you lift me up, I want you alone now. So the mother will lift that child. It's not that to the child to whom mother is giving the toys, the mother is being unfair and being partial to the child who seeks the mother. To both of them. So if somebody is living an extroverted life, that is their karma. Bhagwan says, Tathastu. Go ahead, enjoy, see the whole world, go through. Nice kicks also will come in the world. Go through the ups and downs. At some point, out of compassion, Bhagwan will only bring this satsang, and that slowly that person comes to realize, ki, what am I doing? Where am I? What is my true nature? All that. So now, this particular chapter ends here. That is 17th chapter. So in this Ilavrata Varsha, Shivji is worshipping Sankarshana Devata in this way. Now, in the Bhadrashva Varsha, this Bhadrashrava is worshipping Hayagriva, also called as Hayashirsha. Hayagriva, Hayashirsha means one who has a head of a horse. Hayagriva, Griva is a neck, means the head of a horse. Hayagriva or Hayashirsha mean the same. So in this Bhadrashva Varsha, this is the next chapter here, 18th chapter. So in this, again, as I said, the description, when we see each Varsha, the particular main inhabitant worships the presiding deity. So in this Bhadrashva Varsha, Bhadrashva, the son of Dharmaraj, accompanied by other residents and his servants, worships Lord Hayashirsha, the director of all religious principles. Now, what does he worship? How does he worship the Lord? See now, Bhadrashravasa Vachuhu Uchuhu. So the first line again is the mantra. Om Namo Bhagavate Dharmaya Atma Vishodhanaya Nama Iti. This is a mantra. So if somebody worships Hayagriva or Hayashirsha, then this is the mantra. Om Namo Bhagavate Dharma Yatma Vishodhanaya Namaha. So what does this mean? Om Namo Bhagavate, salutations to the divine. Dharmaya, who is the form of dharma? Dharmaya, Atma Vishodhanaya, Nama Iti. That dharma is that which will purify the mind. Atma Vishodhanaya. And that dharma also is indicated by the word, by the alphabet Om. And so here that is what this is. Om Namo Bhagavate Dharmaya Atma Vishodhanaya Namaha Iti. Now what is this? Who is this Hayagriva Bhagwan? So there are two different stories. which come, certain things are similar, certain things are different in both the versions. So there was this demon called Hayagriva who did the penance and he got the boon from Mother Durga. So Hayagriva literally means one who has the head of a horse. So this Hayagriva is the evil one, is the demon. He is the son of Kashyap Rishi and his wife Danu. Now see the interesting thing here. Kashyap Rishi is engaged in the welfare of the world. And all the different beings have some source connected to Kashyap Rishi. So this Hayagriva has evil tendencies. He comes to understand that, the source of the power for the devatas is the Vedic knowledge. Because the Vedic knowledge is there, then the yajnas, etc., are being done by people. And then through that, the ahutis are offered, and that makes the devatas pleased and powerful. And they bless the yajman with the desire that the yajman has. Now he wanted to become more powerful than the devatas also, and so he prays to Mother Durga and he gets the boon that only someone who has the head of a horse should be able to kill him. See, the demons, they go on coming up with innovative ways to get immortality. One very interesting thing is that. So this demon, he feels that head of the horse nobody else is having, only I am having. So I become invincible. So he starts, he's very arrogant. So what does he do? He thinks that the source of the power of devatas is the Vedic knowledge. So he steals the Vedas from Brahmaji. And when the Vedas are stolen, naturally that knowledge is not available to people, and then the devatas can't worship, etc. There is a lot of chaos in the creation. So they pray to Bhagwan Vishnu. And so Bhagwan Vishnu, in this first story, we know very clearly that Bhagwan Vishnu is born in the form of he comes in the form of a small fish, and Raja Satyavrat Manu, when he is doing his ablutions in the morning, offering the Sandhya, in his palm, one small fish is there. So the whole Matsya Avatar story, all of you know, so I'm not going into the detail of that. And Bhagwan, through the Matsya Avatar, Matsya Narayan Bhagwan he is, and so he kills Hayagriva demon and restores the Vedas, and Brahmaji gets it back, and it is given to the Srishti, and the whole Kalyan of the whole Srishti happens. This is one story. But the second story is, because he got the boon, so it is said that when Hayagriva stole this, so in the first story, the boon is not there actually. He steals the Vedas from Brahmaji, and then Bhagwan takes Matsya Avatar and he kills him. In the second story, he has got the boon from Durga Devi that only a person who has the head of a horse will be able to kill him. So what does he do? He steals the Vedas. Now Brahmaji, it is said Vishnu Bhagwan was lying on the Ananta Shesha, but his head was on the string of his bow. And so Vishnu Bhagwan as though created some termites which ate up on the, the wood with which that bow is made, and the string broke. And when the string broke, it cut the head of Bhagwan Vishnu. And they then implanted the head of a horse on it, and that is the Hayagriva avatar. And that Hayagriva avatar then went and destroyed this demon who is Hayagriva. And so this avatar of Bhagwan Vishnu is called as Hayagriva, who restores dharma. And even today, lots of places people worship Hayagriva avatar, especially on the Raksha Bandhan day, Shravan Purnima day. They celebrate as Hayagriva Jayanti. And before any educational project is undertaken, or and anything to do with education, when it is started, Hayagriva Bhagwan is invoked. So that Hayagriva Bhagwan is being worshipped here by this Bhadrashva, who is the son of Dharmaraj. So Hayagriva Bhagwan restored dharma by restoring the Vedas, and so Dharmaraj's son Bhadrashva is worshipping this Hayagriva Devata. And so what does he say here? So now see, that story basically is what? When the Vedas are taken away by people who have no proper clarity, understanding, they can misinterpret the Vedas, they can destroy the knowledge of the Vedas. In cycles of creation, this keeps on happening. Where the Vedic knowledge will come into prominence, again it will get into residence, and again it has to be revived and brought back to prominence. So Bhagwan does that job. Dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. And so Hayagriva Bhagwan is worshipped as the one who restored the Vedic knowledge. And so here it is. Om Namo Bhagavate Dharmaya Atma Vishodhanaya Nama Iti. Dharma is that which will purify our mind. The one who restored Dharma, and through that who helps to purify our mind, and through that we come to realize the truth. Why should I purify the mind? Why should I follow Dharma? The idea here is Dharma is the means to purify the mind, to realize my Swarup Dharma, that my nature is Brahman, my nature is Sachidananda Swarup Atma. And so that is the mantra for Hayagriva Bhagwan. Aho vichitram bhagavad vicheshtitam dhrantam janoyam hi mishanna pashyati. So he says here that alas, how wonderful is this Maya. See, dhyayanna sadyarhi vikarma sevitum nirhatya putram pitaram jijivishati. This is see the wonderful Maya. Then Bhagwan's Kritya it is that the materialist is very foolish. Though the materialist is seeing that everything in this world is perishable, yet one is running behind it. And though seeing the death is there, everything is changing, yet as though one is not seeing. What is the example given here? That even after burning his dead father or the dead sons, the person still desires to live and enjoy material life, and so does meditate on sinful actions, imagine sinful things, and even goes ahead and does it. Meaning, even though one is seeing the death of the closest ones, like the father, or sometimes child is dead before the father, and the father is doing the Agni Samskar of the child, or the child has done the Agni Samskar of the father. Yet, when one has seen death so closely, still the power of Bhagwan's Maya is such that one is still seeking the worldly enjoyments, and for that doing all adharmic actions also. So he says, Bhagwan, you please protect us. You are the abode of Dharma. You are the one who helps to purify the mind. You please protect us, and may we abide in Dharma, because Maya is very powerful. For some time when we see death, we see somebody has passed on, especially our near and dear ones, we feel dejected, devastated, depressed. And yet what happens? After some time we are back to the old ways. Again indulging, enjoying, forgetting the Supreme. Nothing wrong in enjoying by itself, but forgetting Bhagwan is the problem there. So he says here that even the so-called wise ones, they can get affected by Maya, then what to talk about ignorant ones? Next he says that even learned sages who are advanced in adhyatmic knowledge, vadanti vishwam kavayas manashwaram. Kavaya means wise people here. Kavaya does not mean poet here only. Kavaya means a wise person. Very wise people also. Vadanti nashwaram pashyanti. They see the world as perishable. They even speak about it. And cha adhyatma vido vipaschitaha. They are knowers of the supreme truth also. Meaning they have studied about the supreme truth. They are very learned. Vipaschitaha. Tathapi muhyanti tavaja mayaya. Still they are deluded by your maya. Suvismitam krityamajam natosmitam. And so your maya is very illusory. It is most wondrous. I bow down to you. You please save me and protect me. Even in the Gita, Bhagwan said that Daivi Hesha Gunamayi Mama Maya Duratyaya. My maya is very difficult to cross. Mameva ye prapadyante. Those who surrender to me, Maya metam tarantite. They go across this maya. Mayapati only we should go and seek his refuge, Baba. Is Maya with our Purushartha, how much will we do? We are all products of Maya already. Identified with the BMI, of course. Identified with the BMI, we are products of Maya. That BMI only identification has to be dropped. How that will happen? Surrender to Bhagwan. So he says, your Maya can't be crossed by our ordinary efforts. That doesn't mean we don't do sadhana. All our sadhana is to surrender to Bhagwan, saying, Bhagwan, you are the Karta, you are the Dharta, you are the Harta, I am zero, I am nobody. Let thy will be done. And I keep remembering Bhagwan. Keep accepting life as it comes with Prasada Buddhi, do the duties with Ishwar Arpana Bhav, and live the life in this way. Then only, otherwise we may be very learned. The examples given here are for those who are very learned, intellectually having knowledge also, yet Maya is very powerful. Meaning, all the knowledge, etc., must help me to surrender to Bhagwan. What is the point of all knowledge if my surrender has not happened? If I don't have bhakti in my heart, if I don't feel love for the Lord, if I don't feel horripilation, just remembering the name of the Lord, form of the Lord, understanding His glory, His karuna, His compassion, what is the point of all knowledge? It is useless if it doesn't bring this much of bhav and purity in the mind. And that's why he says even learned people get bewildered by your maya. So I offer my respects unto you. Just give me a minute. So now, having said this, he goes on and worships again. He says that Vishwodbhavasthana Nirodha Karmate Yakarturangīkrita Mapyapavritah Yuktam na chitram tvai karya karane sarvatmani vyatirikte cha vastutah. So you are detached, you are unaffected by this creation, sustenance, annihilation. They all are attributed to you, yet you are not affected by any of them. This is not anything very astonishing to us. Why? Because everything happens by your inconceivable energy, by your power, and you are the active principle, though separate from everything. Again, I told you how they worship supreme, infinite consciousness. Now, specifically about Hayagriva Bhagwan as a Rupa, he explains here. Vedan yugante tamasati raskritan rasat taladyo nrituranga vigraha pratyadade vai kavaye bhiyachate tasmai namaste vitathe hitaya iti. Yugante, at the end of the Yuga, the Vedas were stolen by the demon of ignorance. Tamasa tiraskritan. So the demon of ignorance is also Hayagriva. We will see the symbolism. This story is explained in this one shloka as an indication. So by the demon of ignorance personified, Tamasa tiraskritan, rasataladyo, nrituranga vigraha. So when Brahmaji requested you, you took the form of a Hayagriva and retrieved the Vedas from the Rasatala. This Hayagriva, the evil demon Hayagriva, has hidden the Veda as though in Rasatala. So it's not available for Brahmaji in Satyaloka, not available for the human beings on the Bhuloka. He is gone to Rasatala. So Hayagriva, Namaste avitathe hitaya iti. The one whose determination never fails, that Supreme Lord, Hayagriva, he restored this Veda. So our salutations to you who are that Hayagriva. So appearing in the form of a man horse, it is you who rescued from the bottom of the ocean and restored to the supplicating Brahma the Vedas that had been stolen away by the demon Madhu in ignorance personified at the time of universal dissolution. Therefore, hail to you of unfailing resolve. So this is the second varsha and this is the Bhadrashva's prayer. So what is the symbolism here? This is the Guru Rupa, where ignorance is destroyed by the right knowledge and right understanding. And Brahmaji, from him the Vedas are stolen, taken to the bottom of the ocean or taken to Rasatala. Meaning what? Drowned. So the knowledge, when it is not there, as though knowledge is drowned, sunk to the bottom, then all actions will be out of adharma, selfishness. Because to know dharma, we have to study the scripture. Dharma jignasamananam pramanam paramashutihi. Paramam shutihi. Pramanam paramam shutihi. So those who want to know what is dharma and adharma, for them the Veda is the praman. Shastra is the praman. See, right and wrong goes on changing in the world. Legality, etc. What is legal today can be illegal tomorrow. What is legal in one country can be illegal in some other country. So, human beings, we will keep creating laws as per our conveniences, comfort, selfishness, desires, all that. What is really true and what is really right and what is wrong? How will we know? The universal values will guide it and the Vedic knowledge is there to tell us. And so if that knowledge is not available, it is drowned as though. Now it is drowned need not only mean it is drowned literally. No? Today, how much Vedic knowledge do we have? We don't know what is written in our Vedas. We have not gone through it, we have not opened it, we have not read it. Even so, the essence of it today, there are at least books available with whatever Vedic knowledge, so much knowledge which was available has got destroyed, burnt. Invaders destroyed it. People have attempted to save it with their lives. They have sacrificed. So many Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, many others have given up their lives to protect even whatever is available today. 10% is available, it seems. That also we have not read. So it is drowned. Hayagriva is the one who brings it back, meaning who revives the Vedic knowledge. And revival of Vedic knowledge meaning revival of that way of living, Vedic way of living, where we live with this beautiful principles of oneness, that everything is one. Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. We live with the principle of surrender to Bhagwan. We live with the principle of dedicating actions to the Lord, with the principle of Panchamahayagnas. You know, we live with that ashram vyavastha, varnashrama dharma. How beautiful, and even today we can live it. Nothing we can't. Shodasha samskar, 16 samskars. We can live all these values. We can do our Gayatri Mantra Sandhya, morning, evening. We can do our Upasanas. Nobody prevents us. Only we have to get the knowledge and live that. Revival of the Veda means that. So Hayagriva Bhagwan, of course, at that time he did that. But whoever helps in revival is a form of Hayagriva avatar only then. If people like Vivekanandji or Gurudev or Samarth Ramdas, so many great missionaries who have time and again, Shankaracharya-ji, Vedavyas-ji, so many other seers and rishis, rishi patnis, so many of them who have helped to bring the Vedic knowledge back into our daily living, make us appreciate the Vedic way of living. Vedic way of living does not mean only externalities. It means that internal mindset. That one has to live. That is the revival. And so 2 varshas we have seen. 7 more varshas to go in each varsha, how Bhagwan is worshipped. So that we will continue in our next satsang. For right now, we will stop. Any questions for today? We do the arati.
मंगल शोभा मंगल माधुरी गुट मंगल 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 चरण अरुण करुवन मंगल करणी भगति हरिजन मंगल सुगल प्रिया मंगल श्री राधाई मंगल आरती प्रिया मंगल प्रीति राधा वृद्धि भगवान की जय। ओम तत्र सूर्यो भाति न चंद्र तारकम् नेमा विद्युतो भान्ति कुतो यमस्मि तमेव भान्तमनुभाति सर्वम् तस्य भासा सर्वमिदं विभाति। सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की।
ओम पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ओम शांति शांति शांति। हरि ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम। This is the book, Gita Press book, na? This Bhagavatam. You can refer to this book. That is, mm, this is book code number is 0564. Srimad Bhagavat Mahapuran with Sanskrit text and English translation 0564. That's the name of the book. Om. Thank you very much.